Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us this beautiful day, fall day in Buffalo. I am Brenda McDuffie, and I have the honor of co-chairing the Erie County Business Task Force, along with my fellow co-chair, Mr. Scott Pilata. The Business Task Force was appointed by Erie County Executive Mark Poloncarz in the early days of the pandemic to inform and to guide employers through the many challenges faced by businesses, especially our small businesses. The task force is just one of the many initiatives that the county executive has put in place in our community, not only to help us recover, but to help us continue on the path of successful economic growth that was interrupted by the pandemic. We are at Miss Barber School of Dance today because this business exemplifies the many across Erie County who have been so devastated by COVID-19. Minority businesses like Miss Barber's and those located in highly distressed census tracts throughout Erie County, like the one we're standing in right now, have been particularly hard hit. It is so important that we do everything possible to keep our small businesses thriving and coming back in full force until we see our way back to and out of this economic and health crisis. And thankfully, we have some good news to share with you today for small business owners in Erie County. To announce this major initiative, I'd like to welcome our county executive, Mr. Mark Poloncarz. Mark.
Thank you, Brenda, and thank you all for joining us here today for this very important announcement that I know is needed by many businesses in our area. First, I want to thank Karen Gambino, as she often is for many of our press conferences. We want to ensure that everybody in our community learns about what's happening, including those that may have a hearing disability. I certainly want to thank Brenda McDuffie and Scott Pilata, the co-chairs of the Erie County Business Task Force, for their participation these last few months in ensuring that we protect businesses all across our community. It's very important that we work on many different programs to ensure that the economy of our region rebounds. And we've had some very good numbers recently which indicate that our economy is rebounding. You'll hear more from me in the next couple days. But I want to thank the members of the Erie County Business Task Force for all that they've done these last few months to ensure that as we get through this global pandemic, we have an economy to rely on and jobs to rely on. So if I can ask all to give a round of applause to the members of the Business Task Force who worked very hard these past few months. We're pleased to be joined in front of Miss Barbara's School of Dance, Barbara Glover. This is a perfect location to introduce this program because of what this represents, assistance to small businesses. And if you look at this plaza, it's all small businesses. It's individuals, barber shops, a Chinese food restaurant, the dance studio, insurance that represent the heart of our community. So I want to thank Ms. Barbara for allowing us to be here today, as she also will tell her story about why this program is so needed. Of course, I want to thank our partners at 43 North, Bill Maggio, who you'll hear from very soon, and Colleen Heidinger. They've worked very hard to put forth a program that will allow applicants to apply and have their applications reviewed in a very short period of time. We could not have done this in Erie County government without our partners at 43 North and what they're doing. So thank you to the entire 43 North team for your great work. Big thanks go out to our Congressman Brian Higgins, who's been at the forefront of fighting for aid for our community, including the original CARES Act. So exciting, it wants to show everybody what it is. But to Congressman Higgins, we have a strong advocate in Washington, D.C. for our region, someone who's still advocating on behalf for additional assistance, stimulus assistance, not just for small businesses, but also for governments, because we've all been hit very hard as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I want to thank Congressman Higgins for his great work, and you'll be hearing from him soon, in securing aid for our region. This would not happen without leadership in Washington from Congressman Higgins. So thank you, Congressman, for your great work. We are also joined by our friends from Visit Buffalo Niagara, represented by Patrick Kaler, the CEO of Visit Buffalo Niagara. Visit Buffalo Niagara had a key role and will have a key role in a future portion of the Back to Business campaign as we remind everybody why it's so important to shop local. We know today's a big day for a particular national retailer, but don't buy from them, buy from local businesses. You're going to hear a lot more about that from Patrick Kaler in the few weeks and up ahead. But we want people to understand our economy is based on our region. So we're going to be providing assistance to small businesses through the program that we'll be announcing, but we also want people to understand, we want you to go to this Barber's Dance Studio. We want you to go to these local retailers, especially when you're buying goods. Because when you're putting money into the pockets, the bank accounts of our local businesses, invariably you're putting money into the pockets of our neighbors, the employees, the owners of those businesses. So I'd like to say it's Erie County Days over the next couple days, and we want everyone to continue to invest in our community. And the best way to do that is by investing in our local businesses. We are also joined here right now by the members of the Democratic Caucus of the legislature who introduced the resolution approving this program. You'll hear very shortly from Chairwoman April Baskin, but I know we have a number of the members of the Democratic Caucus here today, including the Majority Leader, Tim Myers, the Chairman of the Finance Committee, Howard Johnson. We also have a legislator, Gene Vinal. I think we got all the legislators there. And very soon you'll also be seeing and hearing from Mayor Byron Brown, and I want to thank him and his team for the great work that they've done. And I also want to thank the great work that my team, including Trana Batchelor from the Erie County Director of Business Assistance, who worked very hard on this program. It is so much work that went into this. Also, Andy Federick from my office, and I'd be remiss if I didn't also thank our Deputy County Executive, Maria White, who worked very hard on this program. So what is this program? Well, we know what's happened. We know that COVID-19 pandemic has decimated many businesses. Some small businesses have already closed. Others are teetering on the edge. And we know that they need assistance. We've been able to provide assistance to school districts out of the CARES Act funding. We've been able to provide assistance to local governments out of the CARES Act funding. We've been able to provide assistance to child care agencies and to individuals themselves to pay for child care out of the CARES Act funding. And today, I'm proud to announce we will be providing up to $20 million in small business assistance grants, the largest grant being up to $45,000 to small businesses in Erie County as a result of the CARES Act funding. The grant program aims to dispense funds to businesses with the greatest need while distributing the aid to many small businesses as possible in a manner that will have a meaningful impact. The program will emphasize diversity and need in the distribution of funds, prioritizing those businesses that have yet to receive any funds, PPP funds, including those that are minority and women-owned businesses, businesses in highly distressed zip codes, and those seeking to hire or bring back furloughed, laid-off employees, and businesses that have not been allowed under New York State pause rules to reopen at this point. These funds must be spent by December 30th, so you need to apply now. If you're going to wait until December to apply, it's going to be too late. We fully expect this program, this $20 million, to be utilized and used up fairly quickly because we know there are many businesses across Erie County that are hurting and can use this. So who's eligible? Eligible applicants to the Back to Business Grant Program can receive up to $10,000 for a business that is a sole proprietor, up to $25,000 in funding for a business with 2 to 25 employees, or up to $45,000 in funding for businesses with 26 to 50 employees. The application deadline is Tuesday, November 2nd. So if you think you're going to get this in December, it's going to be way too late. We fully expect to be receiving thousands of applications in the next few weeks. Once again, there's a lot of requirements that you will have to do, but you can find that all on the website, which is www.backtobiz.grants.org. You can find out more about the program, everything related to it, as well as can apply straight there. We want people to understand that we're here to help. We know it's been a very difficult year for many. We've lost over 700 members of our Erie County family this past year. Hundreds have been hospitalized. Actually, thousands have been hospitalized. We know that more than 12,000 Erie County residents have contracted COVID-19 based on the testing numbers, but we believe it's actually a lot more, including those who are asymptomatic. And as a result of the shutdowns, we know that businesses are hurting all across our community. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you're Miss Barbara's Dance Studio here on West Dullivan in the city of Buffalo, or you're a farmer in Sardinia or Springville, or you're a barber shop in the village of Akron. We are here to help. We want you to apply. We want to see businesses rebound. We've seen very good numbers recently in our sales tax as it pertains to internet sales as well as automobile sales. But we know we're still hurting in the retail industry. We know we're still hurting in the restaurant industry, and that's why we're here to help. So to all who've played a role in making this program possible, if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. I thank you all for your good work. And I know very soon applicants will be coming in. And I want to thank our partners once again at 43 North who will be helping to review that, as well as the review team. You got a tough job ahead, but it will be really important to our community when those funds are released and businesses can get the assistance they need to continue, because that's what we're about. We're the city of good neighbors. We're the county of good neighbors. And that means we come together in a time of need, whether it's someone who's ill due to COVID or a business that's down on its luck because of the shutdown. So to all who made this a reality, thank you. This is going to save businesses. This is going to save jobs. This is going to create a better Erie County for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, County Executive Poloncarz. I stay very excited about this great opportunity that you and many others have provided to business owners in our community. I want to just add one other description of our community that's been emulated by our Buffalo Bills. We are the comeback community. And this particular initiative will allow many businesses to show Buffalo as the great comeback community. The business owners on the front line have been hard hit by the COVID virus, and they're struggling for their survival and to keep their doors open. Boarded up shops and restaurants, we all see them throughout our neighborhoods in our community of Erie County. We are here today to hear the stories of businesses who, in spite of the virus, are fighting for survival, and with the assistance that will be provided with these resources, they will be able to not only grow, but hopefully thrive. Our gracious host, Miss Barbara, a dear friend, and accompanying her is Amherst Chamber of Commerce President A.J. Baines, whose tireless advocacy for small business and is a leader on our Small Business Task Force. I am going to invite them to the podium to share their story representing businesses throughout Erie County and the struggles that we know that you have had. Barbara?
Good morning, everyone. My name is AJ Baines. I currently serve as President and CEO of the Amherst Chamber of Commerce, an organization that represents 1,000 small businesses throughout 79 unique zip codes. And it's a challenging day to be standing here today because every business is struggling. And I stand next to Ms. Barbara, who is no different than every business throughout this community that is struggling. Due to the regulations, due to COVID-19, since March, Ms. Barbara has been closed. It's been an unfortunate set of circumstances for her. And like most small businesses, they feel helpless. They feel there is no opportunity for them in the future here. And what is it going to look like if there is not further assistance? I want to thank Congressman Higgins for being here because I know every day he is fighting in Washington for another CARES Act reform for small businesses to help our local municipalities. But today we stand here excited to announce that there is help on the way. Through the leadership of County Executive Mark Poloncarz, the Erie County legislators, we are here to announce a $20 million grant that is going to directly impact companies, businesses like Ms. Barbara who have been devastated due to COVID-19. I want to thank our partners at 43 North, Bill Maggio, their chair, Executive Director Colleen Heidinger, who without them, a lot of people have shied away from this opportunity to put money into the pockets of the small businesses due to the daunting task that is ahead of them. Thousands of applications that are going to be coming in, and we've heard it every day. We need help, and we are going to apply. Where can we find help? And 43 North is going to help deliver that. Ms. Barbara, it's been difficult the last several months for you. Could you please share with the group your challenges?
Dating for Miss Barbara School of Dance. You know, after the fourth 6-month shutdown, it's been very challenging trying to figure out how to and if I can survive. The limitations on class sizes, fewer people allowed in the facility, and families understandably being uncomfortable about returning just yet makes it very difficult to meet expenses and overhead. But this program will provide a little relief and a fighting chance for the business to survive and maintain the provision of services that are needed, especially for our children who more than ever need the healthy expression and normalcy today.
Thank you, Miss Barbara and AJ, for your expressions. We all need normalcy, and just being out here today with all of you, again, thank you for coming, because it's just good to see people and to have some really good news to share with our community. We knew that this grant program was going to be a heavy lift, and when we looked for an organization that could not only handle the thousands of applications we anticipate, but also could create an outreach program and a website portal in a very short timetable, we were lucky to have 43 North step to the forefront. Please welcome 43 North's board member and co-founder of Ignite Buffalo, Mr. Bill Maggio. Bill?
Thank you, Brenda. Miss Barbara, I gotta start up by saying you inspire me. How about another round of applause for her? So much for being here. All right, so my staff prepared remarks for me. I do this to them all the time. You know, words are very inspiring, I will say that, but actions create and drive change, so I assure you my remarks will be brief. As an entrepreneur in Buffalo who's built many small and large businesses successfully, I know from my heart how meaningful this money will be. And I want to start out by thanking County Executive Mark Poloncarz for including us in this opportunity. Maria White, is she? Where's Maria? We work with you so closely. You were wonderful to work with, a great collaborator. Because of you, 43 North is here today. So thank you very, very much for your support. On behalf of 43 North, our president, Colleen Heidinger. Colleen, come up here with me, please, for God's sakes. You deserve to be up here more than me. Our board of directors, Jordan Levy, Eric Reich, Peter Grum, Mike Whistler, Christine Orsi, Norma Nowak. We have an outstanding board. It's a real privilege for me to be here today. We all know what 43 North is. We were started several years ago to create a sustainable startup ecosystem in Western New York, and we certainly have accomplished that. We're taking a pause this year because of everything that we're dealing with COVID, but I assure you we'll be back strong in 2021, and we're working hard right now to sustain the great inventory and portfolio companies that we've built. We've created close to 1,000 jobs in Western New York, over 750 jobs in Western New York, and certainly thousands across the nation. One of the things that we did, I think it was 2018, we recognized that we wanted to do more to support the small business community. So we co-founded, Colleen and I, along with Facebook, working closely with the mayor, Baron Brown, who I think is here. Mayor Brown, thank you for being here. An initiative called Ignite Buffalo. It was a business plan competition very similar to what we did with 43 North, but targeted specifically for small businesses. We had over 700 businesses apply. 80% of those businesses, I believe, were minority or women-owned, and we gave away $1 million. And we learned then just how important sustaining the small business community was for Western New York. Now, some of you know I'm also the Executive Vice Chairman of Kaleida Health, and back in March and April, working closely with our county executive to keep our community safe. We had an idea at 43 North to do another initiative called Reignite Buffalo. But because this virus was so doggone unpredictable, and because of some of the racial unrest, we decided to defer that idea. So when the county executive and his team reached out to us about this initiative, we were thrilled, honored, quite frankly, to be able to support. Now, I am entirely optimistic that this program will deliver the results that we heard about this morning. And I am optimistic that 43 North will deliver the results that we expect. Matter of fact, we'll exceed those expectations. After all, optimism is the belief that the future is bright. If there was ever a time we need optimism, it's right now. So I'd like to close by stating and recognizing the great team at 43 North. Maura, Lauren, you did so much to make this happen. Colleen, our leader. I'm so proud of what you've done for the small business community. You are 43 North. You are the reason that we have a sustainable startup ecosystem in this community. And you will deliver for the small businesses of Western New York. So God bless. I wish you all good health, and thank you for your time this morning. Oh yeah, I don't want to forget this.
That's it. Thank you, Bill and Colleen and the members of 43 North Board and staff for all your efforts, and we know that there'll be many, many more to come. As the county executive mentioned, this grant program was created under the CARES Act, which came from our federal government. And we want to say thank you. But we want to also really thank one of Western New York's biggest advocates on Capitol Hill. And he is one that we're all proud to call our very own congressman. Congressman Higgins, will you come forward and share a few words with us?
Sure, Brenda. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Brenda, Mark Polenkars, Bill Maggio, Colleen, AJ Baines, the members of the county legislature. In Washington, we often talk in platitudes about Wall Street versus Main Street. Well, today is about the neighborhood streets and the businesses and the homes that people you and I know live and shop. The CARES Act was an incomplete project. It didn't help everybody at a time where everybody needed help. This pandemic was no fault of an individual or an entity. It is incumbent upon the federal government in times of national emergency to marshal the resources of that federal government to help localities. Two individuals here, Mark Polenkars and Mayor Byron Brown, at a time in Washington where the message was sometimes inconsistent, sometimes conflicting, and too often confusing. For 6 months, they provided a clear means of communication to a city and a county that desperately needed good, factual, science-based information to protect themselves and their families. We applaud them for their leadership and their friendship. And I want to thank everybody that's here that was a part of this. As Billy has said, as Mark has said, as Brenda has said, this is a collaborative effort. This is a time and great challenge when communities are tested and when they come together for each other. We all enriched and ennobled. So thank you for including me.
Thank you, Congressman Higgins, for all your efforts, and we know there's much more to come under your leadership. Now we welcome our city leader who has demonstrated an unwavering commitment to the economic renaissance of the city and of the region, frankly, with initiatives like the Northland Workforce Training Center, the Beverly Gray Business Exchange. Mayor Brown has worked to bridge the gaps between training and employment, minority entrepreneurship and minority business ownership, and success. Please welcome our mayor, Mayor Byron Brown.
Thank you very much, Brenda McDuffie, and let me also take this opportunity, as Brenda McDuffie has retired from the Buffalo Urban League as president and CEO, to thank her for her amazing leadership and being such a great champion of minority, women, and small businesses in our community. Let's give Brenda McDuffie a great big round of applause. I'm really honored to join County Executive Mark Poloncarz, Congressman Brian Higgins, Chair of the Erie County Legislature, April Baskin, and legislators Howard Johnson and Jean Vinyl for this very important announcement of $20 million CARE Act funding for minority, women, and small businesses in Erie County. As you all know, academic studies and financial institutions have indicated that the effect of COVID-19 are going to be particularly harsh on Black businesses, Hispanic businesses, and other minority businesses. I want to thank County Executive Poloncarz for using Ms. Barbara's dance studio, owned by Barbara Glover, as the backdrop for this news conference. Congressman Higgins has been a champion during this time of COVID-19. I want to thank him for his constant outreach to me, to County Executive Poloncarz, and to other leaders in this community, updating us on federal stimulus programs and other programs. Unfortunately, even with the best efforts of members of Congress like Congressman Higgins, some of the federal aid to help businesses during this difficult time did not get to Black businesses, Hispanic businesses, and other minority businesses. Some of that aid went to some of the largest businesses in this country. It's a clear example of the systemic racism that exists that has to be addressed. Here locally, I want to also recognize our banking community, because many places across the country, one of the challenges for minority businesses being able to access the PPP program was not having established relationships with the banking community. I want to thank so many of the lenders in Buffalo and Erie County for taking specific steps to get into the African American and other minority communities. Steps that are continuing that must be applauded. I want to thank County Executive Mark Poloncarz for his leadership because as the CARES Act funding flows through the county executive had some very difficult decisions to make. I want to say that he made the right decisions. He's made the right choices with the funding that has come from the federal government. And this amount of funding to help minority, women, and small businesses in this community will not only keep people working, will keep the doors of these small businesses open, but as our economy recovers, potentially will even give small businesses in Buffalo for residents at this critically important time. So I want to conclude by just thanking County Executive Poloncarz, not only for his leadership, but his thoughtfulness in allocating these funds, for his being so collaborative in the work that he has done to allocate these funds, and to thank Congressman Higgins for being such a champion at this difficult time, not only for Buffalo, Erie County, and Western New York, but for this entire nation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Mayor Brown, for your remarks and your encouragement to all of us, and the hope that this initiative and the reality of the comeback that it will bring to our community. To close our speaking program today, I want to welcome the leader of the Erie County Legislature, Chairwoman April Baskin, to share with us.
Thank you, Ms. McDuffie. Thank you to everyone here today, to our county executive, the mayor of the city of Buffalo, our congressman, 43 North, all of the partners who have played a role in making today possible. Our deputy county executive, Maria Watt, who I know has worked extremely hard on this program, and the Small Business Task Force, and handled by the county executive, and of course my colleagues in the legislature, Majority Leader Tim Myers, Legislator Howard Johnson, and Legislator Dean Bino, who also serves as the chairperson of the legislature's newly founded Small Business Committee. Thank you for your partnership. Government is a process, and there are lots of people who are charged with making tough decisions throughout COVID-19, and the Erie County Legislature is always charged with financial responsibility and prioritizing the budget and funds that come through Erie County, like CARES Act dollars, as to where they need to go immediately. And you guys have worked so collectively with me, and it's an honor to serve the residents of Erie County alongside you. So thank you to my legislator partners. I'm a product of Miss Barbara's dance school. My mother has pictures of me in lace and bows that she threatens to use as leverage against me when I don't do what she wants me to do in her household. And a lot of people credit my confidence as a leader to being a student at Buffalo Performing Arts High School. But before I was a student at Performing Arts High School, my stage presence, my confidence, my the encouragement to be able to be clear when I speak, that came from Barbara Glover. So had it not, yes. Had it not been for this small business, I don't think I would be, well, I know for a fact, I would not be the leader that I am today, nor the woman that I am today. So programs like this are important. They produce fruit, they produce the future of our county. Thank you, Ms. Glover, for your years and years of service. And I still remember a lot of the choreography from 5 years old. That's how good of a dance teacher she is. Small businesses are the bedrock of our community. They provide goods and services. They employ our family members and our neighbors and help define our community's identity. And this is why it is essential that Erie County come forward and provided this plan of relief for our small business owners. The Erie County Legislature has been at the forefront of our community's COVID-19 response since the beginning. In March, we voted to provide $5 million of funding to respond to the pandemic. And at the last session, we voted unanimously to support the Back to Business program. Small business owners and entrepreneurs have risen to the occasion time after time this year. And as chairwoman, I think it is vital and important that we recognize and support the work that has taken place to transform dance studios like Miss Barbara's Dance School, corner stores, restaurants, and even office spaces into safe work environments, while continuing to boost our local economy by providing services to the taxpayers of Erie County. This $20 million initiative is a great start. Thank you, Congressman. And I will remain hopeful that our federal government will come through with additional aid to municipalities so that we can continue to support the people that we serve. Right now, everybody's standing in District 2. That's the district that I represent of the 11 in the Erie County Legislature. And these businesses are very, very dear to my heart. It's the small businesses on Bailey, the small businesses on Grant, the small businesses on Delavan Avenue, and the small businesses on Elmwood. I know that these grants that will award up to $45,000 are about more than just meeting payroll or paying the rent. These businesses getting this money is about keeping our neighbors employed. It's about ensuring that our children are fed. It's about providing support to those who are in greatest need. So under the leadership of our great county executive, Mark Poloncarz, Erie County has been active in responding to the pandemic since its beginning. I am grateful to him. I am grateful to my colleagues in the legislature for prioritizing small businesses all over Erie County and implementing a comprehensive plan for this much needed assistance. Before I close, I just want to acknowledge one more person. Miss Tawana Batchelor came to the Erie County Legislature. She's new to the Erie County family and serving. She came to the Erie County Legislature to explain this program with representatives from 43 North and did a phenomenal job in explaining the equity lens that will be used to make sure that all business owners, to echo the sentiments of our great mayor, because we know that the pandemic has impacted different groups in different ways. And it's impacted different business owners in different ways. And a lot of that does boil down to demographic, social status, economic status, and race. And Ms. Batchelor, you did a phenomenal job coming to the legislature and explaining the equity lens that will be used to make sure that these funds are distributed fairly and equitably throughout Erie County. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Chairwoman Baskin, for all of the support you provide to us. I want to say that one of the things that we have, as you've heard from Chairwoman Baskin, is a great team that supports the work of the Erie County Business Task Force. And I can't leave this podium without recognizing the person who has not only led us, but supported us, facilitated us, and shared many of our county executive and our deputy county executives' ideas and made sure they happen. And that is Andrew Frederick. Andy, just say thank you, thank you, thank you. And Triona, we know that you did a superb job as part of that team too, so we thank you also. On behalf of the Erie County Business Task Force, I want to thank everyone for attending today and for all of our leaders in this community who have a vision for this community to exemplify that we support and demonstrate through our actions that we support our small business community. If you need more information or you're going to fill out an application now, please visit www.backtobizgrants.org. Backtobizgrants.org. We are now happy to close our program by offering anyone the opportunity to ask questions. Please. And if you'd like to direct your question, County Executive.
Thank you, Brenda, for all the good work that you've done over these last few months. And I echo the sentiments once again of Mayor Brown. On behalf of the community, thank you for your great work at the Buffalo Urban League. If you have a particular question with regards to the program, I'd ask that Tawana Batchelor as well as Colin Huttinger come up to answer those questions because they've been intimately involved. But what is your question, David? The question, for those who may not have heard it, is Erie County was awarded the CARES Act funding earlier in the spring. Why did it take so long to get the program funded? Because we needed to get approval from the U.S. Treasury Department that this is a legitimate use of the dollars. It was primarily to be used for governmental response to COVID-19, costs associated with that. We did not get further guidance from the Treasury Department until literally some time later. And as such, when we got to a point where we felt like we had expended money directly associated with COVID-19, not only for Erie County, but for our partners, and we knew then that it was okay to actually utilize this dollars this way, then we instituted the program. We're having gone through a number of audits of federal aid, especially FEMA aid. I know that they will go through with a fine-tooth comb everything. And when you sometimes have different administrations come in, they have different rules. I'm not going to ask the congressman to come up unless he wants to, but we've seen problems in the past where things that were allegedly approved are no longer approved. And we've dealt with such to the point we had a huge issue with a economic development program, the UDAG fund, that the federal government was trying to recapture millions of dollars back from Erie County, and it required the assistance of Congressman Higgins and Senator Schumer to prevent that in the end. So we implemented the program as was required. We focused primarily on the COVID-19 pandemic response and the costs associated with that with Erie County. We are at a point now where, assuming all $20 million is spent, we'll have no money left. We've spent that much money during the year on the COVID-19 response. We have over $100 million that have gone out the door, plus millions more that are accounted for right now with regards to costs associated with PPE purchases that are coming in. We still have, I think, over a $6 million order for N95s that we've been on order for 2 months. We have millions of pieces of PPE, which sounds great, but it'll probably only get us through a winter. So what I would note is we focused our dollars initially on where it was supposed to go, which is direct COVID-19 response with regards to the health and welfare of our community. And now that we're at a position where we felt like we were not going to have money recaptured, though it's always a possibility, by the federal government, and we had met the needs from the health and wellness, so to speak, we could implement the program now.
In that same time period, you have along with others for a relaxation that's including Erie County, for example, because of what the budget has. And I know your budget's coming up. Part of the reason to wait 6 months, you could use that money to plug the county's budget.
The question was, knowing the budgetary issues and hoping that the federal government would come in and loosen the rules associated with the CARES Act to allow it to use for other funds, was that one of the reasons why there was a delay in releasing the program? The program, which is there's only a couple of these to my knowledge in the entire country. So it's not like every other community that got CARES Act funding was doing these. Most of them in New York State have actually used all of their dollars associated solely with public welfare and health. I know Suffolk County and Nassau County spent their money early on just on reimbursing their costs associated with responding to COVID-19. We were questioning whether there would be a loosening of the program, but based on conversations I've had with the congressman and others, it didn't look like it was coming. That's why there was an advocacy for another round, and why the other round, unfortunately, right now seems to be in limbo. There are very few programs like this across the country. And I would say to our small business owners out there, we're here to help. No, because we're going to talk about my budget on Thursday, but we're in a lot better position than we thought we were, because the number's actually out there now. We were 6.5% up for the first quarter. We were down 18% in the second quarter, and based on the numbers that were being projected by New York State, it looked like we were about 9% for the year down. The latest sales tax numbers have come in, and we're about 2.5% down for the year. So I know the mayor should be happy to hear that, because they share in the sales tax. And that is great information, because it allows us to provide funding for many of our programs without doing the drastic cuts. There's going to be cuts, but the drastic cuts, or otherwise a big tax increase. So we have gotten into a better position. We knew that for a little bit of time. But this program, which actually took some time to develop, and I'll leave it up to others to describe that, but this is not just like we came up with this idea a week ago and we announced it today. This has been in the works for months, truthfully, because it's such a difficult program to administer. And I would leave it up to Tawana and Colleen to talk about that. But Congressman, did you want to talk about where we are with the CARES Act and all the other funding?
let me just say that federal government pushed out an enormous amount of money in a highly imperfect way. And in the early days of this pandemic, in March, we had a mayor and a county executive that were ready to respond as local governments always do in times of national disaster. And when that declaration was made, the federal government was slow in pushing that money out. It was highly imperfect and it wasn't nearly enough. And 5 months ago, we did another bill which would have provided another $3.5 trillion to local governments. The county of Erie and the city of Buffalo took two hits. They took a hit on the revenue side. They derive a lot of their revenues to support programs to help people, the sales tax revenues, but also on the expenditure side. In the absence of strong, consistent federal leadership, people looked to our mayor, they looked to our county executive. So there's a lot of blame to go around, but I would blame the federal government in the inconsistent response that counties like Erie, cities like Buffalo, were ready to spend that money to provide real relief to real people in this community.
Trona and Colleen, could you just talk about the process to get to this point? This is not an overnight project.
Yeah, we, 43 North got the call about a month ago in regards to supporting the county and building a platform and a process for application that would be fair. And so we've built an application that's, about an hour's in length for the businesses to fill out. And every question is regarding need, right? We take need into, we account for need in every question that's on the application. We also ask for a very detailed account of how this money will be spent as well. So with that, we also have a system, obviously, as I spoke to. We have a review process, so humans will look at every application. We'll be doing background checks as well on the business and the individual to ensure that this money ends up in those that haven't received PPP, for example, or are from a distressed zip code, for example, or are minority-owned business.
And I will just echo Colleen. This has been a really large undertaking, all hands on deck, with a huge thinking with the business task force. It was about maybe 4 weeks. We've been really hammering this home to make sure that we can get this money out to the businesses that need it the most. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yep.
Yes, there are areas like in the village of Angola and other rural areas that are described as highly, and also an entity that has been closed as a result of the New York pause and still is closed. Because any other questions on topic? Yes.
Criticism from other legislators about this, saying that need for the grant higher criteria. Can you talk about that?
Need is the highest criteria. It's as simple as that. I know some legislators just wanted a big chunk of money to hand out to businesses of their choosing, and we wanted a fair process. Simple as that. We wanted a fair process. That's one of the reasons why 43 North is here. Not only do they have the expertise and the technology, but we know it's going to be a fair process. It's not going to be the friend of a legislator gets the largest amount because they happen to be the friend of a friend. We want everyone to feel like that everyone is eligible and it's a fair process. Any other? I don't have an exact number. I think the discussions we've had are thousands of businesses that we believe will apply. Looking at just what we've done so far with regards to child care assistance and I'm losing my mind now.
The centers.
Yes, the virtual learning centers and others. I mean, we've had in the CARES Act rental and mortgage assistance program to those that are at risk of losing their house due to eviction or foreclosure. We've had over 1,000 applicants already. So I would expect, knowing the size of our community, about 920,000 people in a geographic size community, the same size as the state of Rhode Island, with small businesses everywhere, we expect thousands of applicants. And that's why it's important to apply as quickly as possible. If you wait till the end, which is November 2nd, it's possible that we may have already received so many applicants and have so many identified that we would have utilized the fund. Any other questions on topic? If there are none, then if there are any off-topic questions, we'll take them to the side. Okay, thank you, everyone, and thank you all for your great work.